for tuning in. My name's Keisha. I'm the founder of Upgraded Mindsets and the host of the Empowering Real Talk podcast. Since you are tuning in, let me tell you, expect unfiltered dialogues on relevant topics designed to help unlock effective personal, professional, and entrepreneurial growth. The Empowering Real Talk podcast will encourage you to implement any necessary steps to activate and achieve greater success on any and every level. Listen, in order for us to grow individually and as a whole, these conversations are necessary. I appreciate your support. Let's get it. What up, guys? Welcome back to Empowering Real Talk. It is your girl, Coach K Transforms, and y'all know I'm here with another dope session. Listen, if you are watching me on YouTube, then you see I am not here by myself. I'm going to allow my guest the honors of introducing himself. Hello, hello, hello. How are you?
Hello to you and hello to everyone. My name is Mark Kemp. I am a certified hypnotherapist, among other things in life, and I'm here today to help dispel a lot of the myths and misconceptions associated with hypnosis and hypnotherapy, and to show you how it is actually a part of your everyday life and how you can use it to transform your life, taking you to the next level as you strive for success in every single thing that you do.
I love it. And I cannot wait to get into this conversation because there are a lot of misconceptions when it comes to hypnotherapy and actually the processes, the rules and regulations, all of that. There's so many of that. So I am super excited to get into that with you. So before we get into all of that, kind of let my audience know a little bit of backstory about you and actually what kind of got you into where and what you're doing today.
Oh, gladly. I am physically challenged. I have cerebral palsy. Okay. And prior to the pandemic, one of the biggest rages was the opioid crisis, and it's still very prevalent today. Okay. And as a result, with my CP, I'm also a licensed optician, and I spend a lot of hours on my feet. I'm on my feet at least 8 to 10 hours a day. And that brought me to a certain level of pain. And because of the opioid crisis, I was afraid of, getting addicted to painkillers and things of that nature. I've always tried to live a more holistic life anyway. So I searched and searched and searched for a way to alleviate my pain. Because sometimes on the scale of 1 to 10, it would be as high as an 8 or 9. I'm like, gosh, I love my profession, but I don't know how much longer I can continue to do this.
Right.
So I searched and searched and searched for holistic ways to alleviate the pain or manage it. And one day a friend of mine was talking to me, and they mentioned hypnosis. And like most folks, I dismissed them like, yeah, that's something that happens in the movies, and, it's not real. And if it is, we're not going to control my mind. I'm not going to reveal any deep dark secrets to nobody. Two of the biggest myths and misconceptions. So one day I was on YouTube, and it came across my screen, hypnosis for pain management. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I opened up the file and I looked at it and I tried to work it, and it honestly didn't work. But what it did was it sparked a curiosity in me. And I began to search and search and search. And finally I found one that did work. Took some time, but I did.
Right.
And I started to use that file. And as I got better and better at it, I could actually reduce my pain from like an 8 or 9, like I said, all the way down to like a 1 or 2. Now, here's the thing. With pain, you should never totally eliminate it from your body, because that's your body saying that something's wrong.
Right.
That's your alert system that something's wrong. So based on that, after doing it for about a year or so, I said, you know what? I need to learn this science and share it with others, because I've been so blessed. I have to be a blessing to others.
I love that. I love that. Like, that story is amazing. I love that you even piqued your curiosity beyond that, because you could have very well just said, hey, this didn't work for me, so I ain't thinking about this. I knew they was crazy. You know how they say that all the time. I knew they was crazy, So I love that you piqued that curiosity. Like, but you're talking about it from like the scientific standpoint. So when it comes to like understanding hypnosis, what do you feel like is like one of the most common myths, when it comes to a negative side of hypnosis and hypnotherapy? What do you feel is like one of the common myths that we need to debunk today?
Okay. Well, first of all, when we are in a hypnotic state, or when a person is in a hypnotic state, I'm speaking directly to your subconscious mind.
Mm.
The human thought process takes place on two levels, conscious and your subconscious.
Right.
Okay? And one of the biggest misconceptions is that I'm going to control your mind. No, not at all. Okay? Hypnosis and hypnotherapy is a partnership. You have to, in order for you to go into a hypnotic state, a couple things have to take place. Number one, you have to desire it. Number two, you have to trust the person or have a rapport with the person that's taking you through that hypnotic state.
Right.
And number three, you have to be open and be willing to experience it. And if those three things are not in place, chances of you being hypnotized are very small. But here's the thing: people don't realize that your subconscious is manipulated every day by the things.
Every day.
Every day by the things around you. You ever go to movies, and when one of the last images you see on the screen before the movie starts is a soda opening or popcorn being popped, because that's that subliminal message telling you, go get some popcorn.
Man, don't get that. Tell them.
And another way to illustrate it, that it's around you every day. Have you ever read a book and you could see the scene in your head?
I literally just finished a book, because I'm actually a part of a book club, and like it was just like I could close my eyes and visualize that whole scene. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That author hypnotized you with the words. Have you ever smelled something cooking and instantly became hungry?
Mm-hmm. Probably more than I want to admit.
You were hypnotized by the smell. Yep. And speaking of movies, have you ever watched the tearjerker of a movie, one of those movies where you just booed at the end?
Yeah.
Well, come on. We all know that those are paid actors and actresses. But the words and those scenes were so moving, they evoked that emotion of you of sadness or joy. Anything that can be experienced through the five senses can be enhanced or altered with hypnosis.
That's deep. I love how you broke that down with everyday occurrences. These are things that we do every day. We're talking about these fictional movies that people are paid hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars to act out for us. Okay. So like I love that you kind of broke that down. I think it just really relies on like the power of suggestion. You know what I'm saying? Like suggesting these type of things, and that goes with our mind. Me and you both can relate when it comes to like mindset and transforming the mind. We might have different ways of doing it, but we both have the same common goal of wanting people to become open-minded, to transform their mind. And like you said, if you aren't open-minded, it's not going to help anyway, and it's not going to work for you anyway, because you're not even open-minded to receive that. Do you come across that a lot in your practice?
Yes. One of the common phrases that people use is generational curses.
Oh my God.
Generational curse. I don't use that term. I use the term generational trauma.
Mm-hmm. And people don't even understand that all of us have experienced some form of trauma. Like every single person has experienced some form, but because we have suppressed that and we downplay it and sweep it under the rug, a lot of us don't look at it like trauma. But I will say this, I know that we are in the season of people waking up, because when I see conversations like this, it is becoming more common. And I love that, because they're the conversations that we need to have. My motto with this podcast: these conversations are necessary. Yeah. Growth is necessary. And these are the conversations that we have to have to make that happen. I know in your practice, and how long have you been practicing?
I opened up my practice coming up on about 2.5 years ago.
I love it.
And back to generational trauma.
Yes.
Moment. One of the hardest things to do as a parent is not to lay your burdens of trauma, not to pass them on to your child. And one thing that happens to individuals in a lot of marginalized communities like ours,
yeah,
is because of societal pressure and our belief system that can somewhat be flawed at times. we tend to demonize those things that we don't understand.
Yeah.
And hypnosis can be used, and hypnotherapy can be used to change the mindset, to elevate that mindset. You know, people downplay the role of a person's imagination. You know,
Yeah.
it is so important because imagination can lead to innovation, and innovation can lead to change. So, one of the things that we do sometimes as parents, because of our pressure of doing through the day to day, we inadvertently teach our kids not to dream sometimes,
Yeah.
not to go for it. Let's face it, if you're sitting here and you're a single parent, and your child may have talent in a sport or an activity, but it requires for you to get off work, it requires for you to spend time allowing them to practice, outside of what they need to go to do to get through the day to day, you may be forced to stifle it somewhat
Yeah.
because you got to get through that day to day. And then that is such a travesty, unfortunately.
It is. I get it. As a woman that, raised three boys, two which were my sisters who passed away. I definitely understand the gist of feeling like that we don't have time to, go to sporting events or time to, help with homework, and stuff like that. But again, I totally believe that that is a mindset thing because we can make the time. We can make the time. I believe that it is a mindset thing that you said, and it does go back to generational trauma because that's what we were raised to believe. I couldn't do this for you because I had to work. I couldn't do this for you because I had to make sure that this was taken care of. Like it's almost like sometimes people want to throw guilt trips on us because of choices that you made. You decided to become a parent. So why am I suffering because you decided to become a parent? You made that choice. You made that decision, and I want us to get out of that. Make the time. I go deeper than 24 hours. It's 1,440 minutes in a day. You have the time.
Uh,
You have the time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm telling you, my mentor gave that to me 2 years ago, and I've been rocking with it ever since because it puts things in so many different perspectives. You got an 8 hour day, you got this, but if you break it down into minutes, no one can never tell me they don't have the time. That is not an excuse for me anymore. So, but just breaking that trauma, that generational trauma. Well, my mama did it to me. That doesn't mean it was okay. Yep, our parents did the best they could do, you know, if they believe that, but we can do different. With my clients, that's exactly what we teach. We get out of the outdated thinking methods, those habits that have us stuck and not moving forward because they're outdated for us. Our mindset is totally different. We want something different. So we got to think different and we got to act different. And I think that hypnotherapy is a great tactic because like you said, it taps into that subconscious, really something that you have been really thinking about in the back of that mind all them years, but you suppressed it because of the societal expectations.
I could tell you some of our friends have several incidences where they've thought of something, and later on someone did it. I can remember as a teenager going to the barbershop and getting my hair cut. And I said, man, some of the conversations that we have one day would make a great movie. And look at barbershop. It
Yeah.
made Ice Cube famous.
Yep.
So don't ever discount a dream, don't ever discount a thought, because everything matters.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. Tell us a little bit more as far as the procedure, the process. If someone was to come, kind of walk us through a little bit of the like from the consultation on down to the actual session, if you don't mind sharing.
I don't mind sharing it all. Well, what would happen? Say if you contacted me for smoking cessation,
Mm-hmm.
right? What we'd do, I'd have a pre-talk. That's where, I'd talk to you, find out how long you've been smoking and why did you start, and what are some times, when you want to smoke the most. Okay. Then from that, we'd set up goals for the session, and I'd do what's called a suggestibility test to see how well, you respond to suggestions. And then once we do that after the discovery call and have you fill out some information, and then we'll be going to the session, and I would use methods and suggestions that would help you to, decrease the desire to smoke. But more importantly, I would do an exercise in which I try to discover and work on that trauma that caused you to smoke in the first place. That's the key. And that's the problem with a lot of Western or traditional medicine. It treats the symptom, but not the root cause.
Talk about it. Please elaborate on that more. Please, because they need to hear that.
The root cause. People, we discount home remedies sometimes, but all modern medicine starts with a home remedy. It starts somewhere, and its most basic natural form is a home remedy.
Yeah, that is a fact. Like that, I love that you said the word holistic, because a lot of people don't understand, like, that doesn't just mean taking a bunch of herbs and stuff like that. Holistic means mind, body, spirit, soul, whatever other words you want to incorporate, but you have to be ready to get all of that in alignment with each other. I have found so often that people want to start businesses, or they want to, create these legacies on this end. But when it comes to the generational trauma, the generational things that have them stuck, they don't even want to address that. They want to completely skip over it. And just be real and tell them that's not going to happen. You have to address the uncomfortable conversations. You have to address the things that have you stuck on a personal note, the things that trigger you, the things, all of those particular things. Like, I love that what you just said. What made you start smoking? What was it that made you stop smoking or start smoking? And some people will be like, "Oh, I just wanted to do it because of this."
No.
You're not being honest with yourself. You're not being honest with that. And I love that you actually say, hey, we're gonna get to the root of to the tutor when it comes to this. You know what I'm saying? Like, so just being able to address that, do you have people that will say, no, I don't want to talk about that, and you just say, hey, well, I'm sorry, I can't help you.
Exactly. And the thing is, you may come to me for stop smoking, but there's another issue.
Yeah.
And I also help individuals with insomnia. And that's a really interesting one, because you can't sleep. You may say it's because of XYZ, but as we dig deeper, we'll find out what the situation is. And then, once I take you through the session, we have a wrap up, and I talk to you after the session also. We set goals and things of that nature in terms of what I want you to work on when you're at home. Things like smoking cessation and pain management, those are fairly simple to deal with depending on the circumstance. But when it comes to emotional detoxing and mental detoxing, those are the things where we really dig deep. Most things like smoking cessation and insomnia and things like that can be cleared up in 1 or 2 sessions. But when it comes to dealing with that emotional trauma, the emotional and mental detox, those can be
Yeah.
they're very rewarding, first of all, but those can get rather intense and rather lengthy.
Right. Absolutely. And I love the conversation is great, but I think I just want to kind of really get into more of the mindset, right? Like what the benefits come from, when it comes to that, because we talk, like you said, you do hypnotherapy, but you also help with the mindset as well. You know what I'm saying? Like really just making people, for one, understand the severity of having a growth mindset. Growth mindset is being open-minded to learn, becoming a lifelong learner, versus having a fixed mindset where you're like, oh, this is just how I am. This is just how I am. This is just what I do. In your experiences, and especially clinically and whatever else, what do you feel is our biggest downfall when it comes to growth versus a fixed mindset?
Discovering those subconscious blocks, those things that block you that you are not even aware of. And that's part of the conversation, and that's part of digging deep into your subconscious and seeing what's there. One of the big rages right now is the manifestations.
Yeah.
And that's fine and that's good. But in order to manifest things, first of all, you have to believe in your affirmations.
Ooh, come on.
That, and in order to believe in your affirmations, you've got to that popular saying of say it until you make it happen, or fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
That's a pretty slogan. But what are you doing to ensure that you make it? What are you doing beyond the words to ensure that you make it?
People get lost in the words, they get stuck in the words, and they believe that there's not supposed to be any action after it. And another thing that I hear people say, oh, is just pray about it. You know, as a person that believes, don't get it twisted. And I have to always say that, because when I get to talking about this, people be like, oh, you don't believe? I do. But the problem is you are relying on prayer and there's no action after that prayer. You're saying, same with the affirmations. You're trying to affirm and manifest and do all that, but what actions are you taking once you have said those words? Yes, I live my life like I am a eight-figure earner all day, every day. But you know what I'm doing? I am putting the action in every single day to achieve what it is that I have already told myself I already am. To me, that's what I believe the power of affirmations are. Living life how you do it, but taking the action to get to that point.
Here's a real simple illustration. I can affirm that I'm going to lose weight. But if I don't diet and exercise, how's it going to happen?
Come on. Come on. It's just that simple. Like, how is it going to happen? So you think this miraculous thing is going to come into play? You're not doing anything towards that, but you want to sit up here and say, oh, I manifest this. We will write a whole journal of manifestations. And then I'd be like, okay, well, what actions are you taking? Well, I want to do this and I want to get started on this. So what actions are you taking? Well, I haven't done anything yet. And then that's when the defense comes in. Life is going to life every single day. Life is life. That's what it's supposed to do. It's never going to be all pretty flowers and roses and great smelling perfume. The shit is going to be hard at times. It's supposed to be, especially if you're growing and building and producing a better life for yourself. You are going to run into those things. I want us to get into the mindset of understanding that obstacles are inevitable.
Yes.
But you have to have tools and strategies in place to implement, to continue going, still taking care of yourself, but to continue to go. We in a world right now, we in a country right now where life is definitely life. You feel me? So like, I just really want us to understand that the mind is where everything begins. Like every choice, every decision, every thought, and it's up to you to stop taking that shit lightly and really start putting in practices to become a better person mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. What do you recommend to someone that is actually wanting to possibly begin the journey, but also the after effects, right? Like, what tips and strategies do you recommend for somebody that wants to be, start the journey of transforming their mind for the better?
Once you start, you have to, one of the first things that you do when you start, you have to realize that once you achieve your goals, it's not going to stop.
Yeah.
Because you can go ahead and you can run the race. How many times you see athletes, they're scrappy, they're in shape when they're in their 20s, in the prime of their sport. But when they retire, or when they stop, if they stop exercising, if they stop eating properly, if they stop taking care of their bodies, you went from being a scrapping 220 in shape to 350, 400 pounds and all kind of health conditions.
Yeah.
It's because you stopped doing those things that got you to the body. Now, as we age, there has to be modification. Yes, absolutely. But not stagnation and stopping. And that's a lesson that every single person, I don't care how elevated our minds are, we have to remind ourselves of that. Can't stop.
Absolutely.
Because once you stop, it's even harder to jumpstart it.
Yeah. I agree with that 100%. As someone that experienced that herself, it is hard. You stop for a certain amount of time, baby. It is hard to get back. You hear me? Get back on track. But that journey is always necessary. It is just so important that we really understand, like, you know, in order to like boost our confidence, our self-esteem. Like these are the things that we have to do. You know what I'm saying? Like confidence comes from within. You know, we seek outside validation so much. That's another mindset shift that needs to be changed. Your validation comes from within you. If you're not validating yourself, 20 people can come and tell you how dope you are, how pretty you are, and it's not going to help you. You know what I'm saying? Because it comes all from within, and it's all about how you think about yourself.
You know, that is so true. There's no love more important than self-love.
Yes.
You know, I have an affirmation that I say every morning, and I'm going to share. It is, I am happy. I am worthy. I love myself.
Mm,
I consistently put in the work to do the things to make myself better than I am today.
I love that.
Positive. Therefore, I put positive energy out into the universe. Positive energy returns to me tenfold. Therefore, good things happen for me. I am worthy, I am open, and I'm ready to receive everything that I desire.
Come on. Come on. Positive self-talk every single day. Just to give y'all a tip with me, I could be in my car and I'll be in my rear view mirror and I will get to reciting, girl, you are so amazing. You are just so beautiful. I love your spirit. I love myself. Like I will do that at any random time throughout the day. Whether I need it at that moment or I don't need it, my mind is programmed to tell myself, go ahead and throw some affirmations out there for yourself. Go ahead and give yourself some positive self-talk. Go ahead and compliment yourself. You know, people call it confidence or cockiness. I call it confidence. You can call it whatever you want, but I have no problem affirming that I'm dope as hell. I'm going to do that because that's the life that I want to live. I'm not going to let nobody, you know, convince me. And I tell this as I work with women, startup entrepreneurs, like this is something that we have to do. We have to shift the mind to believe that we're capable. We have to shift the mind and have tools and strategies in place. Hypnotherapy is definitely one. No, if you're ready to do the work. Now, if you ain't ready to do the work, don't waste nobody's time, y'all. Okay. But if you ready to do the work, you know, then it is something that you should explore. Be open-minded to explore anything that is going to help you be the most empowering version of yourself. Okay. So, Mark, before we get out of here, let my audience know one thing that you just recommend, some some type of tip or resource, or even just some motivational words to encourage them, to become their best self.
Okay. Every morning when you get up and you're getting dressed and you're getting ready, just take a moment, close your eyes, and take a deep breath and say, I'm going to have a good day because I deserve it. No matter what may come my way today, no matter what adversity I may face, I'm going to get through. If you start every day with that, you know, you're saying that number one, you're worthy and you're prepared for the fight. Let's make no mistake about it. Because of where we are in this country, in this world today, every day is a fight.
Yeah.
Now, you can use your faith to help you with that fight. You can use your spirituality to help you with that fight, or whatever means you need to. But realize, it's a fight.
It's a fight.
You are going to win some fights, and you're going to be less than successful. I didn't say lose.
Right.
Less than successful. Okay, but understand, you got to keep going.
Yeah.
And when you do get knocked down, the way in which you get up is so important. But just remember, get up.
Get up. Get up. I love it. I love it. Thank you for that. Please let my audience and listeners know where they can find you at.
Okay, I am on YouTube under Tranquility. That's TRANQUILITY, Health and Wellness. I'm also on Facebook under Tranquility Health and Wellness LLC, and my name Mark Kemp. Okay, and you can reach me on those two avenues. I'm also on TikTok.
Okay.
You know, under Hypnotic Dog.
So it has been such a pleasure to have you. Thank you for bringing your insight, your expertise, your value, but most importantly, your empowering real talk. All those details, y'all, will be listed in the podcast description notes. So make sure you click on it, make sure you follow him, make sure you keep up to date with what he's got going on. It has been an honor, Mark. I appreciate you being here.
Yeah. Maybe one day I'll give you a session and we can show what it's really about.
Ooh, I'm definitely down for the cause, y'all. I'm definitely down for the cause. Subscribe to the Upgraded Mindsets YouTube channel. You know, you can catch Empowering Real Talk, but you can also catch the other podcast, The Woman's Hustle, Thrills and Spills of Entrepreneurship. If you are a woman entrepreneur thinking about entrepreneurship, please do not hesitate to subscribe, reach out. If you are interested in being a guest on either podcast, the details will also be in the notes as well, y'all. Listen, keep yourself empowered, stay focused, stay motivated. Till next time, baby.